for the presenters and instructors that are just starting to work with Zoom, we thought we would do this help video to show you a couple of tips about how to pre-queue your materials before the class starts to avoid those embarrassing moments when you either can't find something or you can't get it to work. So the first thing we want to talk about is when you come into a Zoom class, you may or may not be full screen. I could go to full window, that's a full window, or I could go to full Zoom screen, which will get rid of the Windows toolbar. If I double click, I go to a full Zoom screen. Depending upon how your program or your profile, individual profile has been set up, you may come in to a class in several different modes. I'm going to double click and get out of this, and then I'm going to get out of the full window. I'm going to go back to this and say that no matter how you came into the class, you want to do your reduction in window size or get out of the full Zoom window by double clicking until you have a controllable window to work with. At that point, you want to minimize that window. On a Mac, that would be the yellow button, I think it is, on the left. On a PC, you're going to use the underscore over here on the right. I'm going to minimize. When I minimize, you'll notice I get a small window over here that I can get back to the full zoom by clicking the green button to get out of that. But I'm going to minimize, I'm going to leave that there so that I can work with the rest of the desktop. Now I don't need this entry point anymore, so I'm going to get rid of that part of the program. Now, suppose for the class today you were going to play a selection from the internet, from say YouTube. Suppose you were going to play a picture folder from your computer for a particular subject, and either that's in either a PDF or a PowerPoint or a presenter format if you're on a Mac. But I'm going to go ahead and start out by saying that suppose I was going to play something from YouTube. I'm going to bring my browser alive, I'm going to bring YouTube alive, and I'm just going to go ahead and pick something right off the bat here. Hercules, I do a lot of watching of aircraft videos and stuff like that. So I'm going to bring this one alive. And as soon as it gets through the ad, and this I suggest for all of you, wait it out, let it get through the ad. The class hasn't started yet. You have plenty of time to, there, I can skip the ads. Make sure that that's what I want. Now I'm going to pause it. I'm going to reset it to the beginning. And I'm just going to leave it on screen. Now in a Windows machine, I could hit the button and minimize this, which puts it down on the taskbar. If I click on it here, it brings it back. But on a Mac, you can't do that. So for this example, I'm just going to leave this active here on my screen. It can be anywhere on the screen. But now I'm going to go into my File and Folder Explorer for the File Finder. For those of you that are on a Mac, the little two-faced icon down there along the left of your screen. I'm gonna go into the File and Folder Explorer, and I'm gonna go to I don't have any quick links there, so I'm just go to the C drive. I'm going to go to the CLR folder. In the CLR folder, I'm going to go down to Media and Publicity. We've got a bunch of presentations that we do for PDF or for PowerPoint. We do presentations in either format for new groups that we're trying to get the word about our purpose and our mission in life and the fact of what we can do to help them and their committees. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull this one alive. This one you can see is a PDF viewer. I will talk a little bit about that toward the end, but I'm going to go ahead and just leave this on screen as well. Now, then the final thing I'm going to pull up is I'm going to go to Working Folder, and let me go to Facebook, and I'm going to pull up a local video. This one happens to be Nick 10.
Welcome, friends. This is Jim Nance.
And I'm just going to pause that. It's a Nick 10 video that was on TV about a week ago. My grandson was on the Belvedere team, and they were showing tournament shots last week. So I'm going to leave that on screen. Now, I don't need the file finder, the file and folder explorer anymore, so I'm just going to close that and get rid of it. Now you can see on my screen, I've got a bunch of different things hanging around here. I don't need this anymore. I'm going to close that. I'm down to 3 or 4 items on my screen. According to this, I have a video, I have a PDF, I have the Zoom window, that's the minimized window, and I have this YouTube video. So now I've got everything that I'm going to need for the class. And I no longer need to dwell on this stuff. I know it's there. I know it's ready to use. So I can just go ahead and bring the class back alive. Click the little green arrow to get out of the box. Bring the class back alive. Now I can watch the facilitator let people into the classroom. Some people may or may not want to say hi to you. They may want to ask you a question before the class starts. Hey, that's fine. So we have time to socialize a little bit, but we know we're all ready for that class that we're going to present. Now it's time. The facilitator does the introductions and turns the class over to you. You talk for a little bit, and then you're ready to share your screen and bring up one of the items that you're going to use for this class presentation, whatever it might be. So I'm going to go to the share screen window. When I click it, you'll notice I get 2 rows of icons. The top is a default. It's the screen, the white pad, which some institutions use that, some don't. And they have it turned off if they don't use it. The iPad, iPhone, which is always going to be there as a default possibility. You might want to bring your phone screen up onto the Zoom window. Notice in the bottom row, I have the 3 things that I queued up. All right, the last one I queued up was this video. The one before that was the introduction to CLR that's used by the Speakers Bureau. And before that was a YouTube video. So suppose I want to start with the YouTube video. I click on it to highlight it. Once it is highlighted, I can go ahead and share it. Now, as soon as it's in share mode, I can start it and then go full screen, or I can go full screen and then start it. All right. And now we have a video playing. Oh, but what's that? You say you can't hear it quite. The class members are telling you they can't hear it quite right. I'm going to show you why that is, but before I have to do that, I'm going to go up here and I'm go to the More button. If you're on a PC or a Mac, you want to pull down the control bar. If you forgot to do this going into the class, you can go down to the More bar and go down on the menu and see the Share Computer Sound. So I'm going to click that. And now when I play this, all the class members will be very happy that they can hear the sound perfectly. And once I've clicked that button, it really doesn't matter if I have my speakers turned on or off or what the volume is set on my speakers. They will hear a constant volume that's being provided directly from the video to the class members. It has nothing to do with my local settings. The video is done. I'm done talking about that part of it. And now I want to stop it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click to get out of full screen. And I'm going to go ahead and go up to the corner and I'm going to stop that video. Well, when I do, what happens is that the system kicks me out of the share screen mode and I'm right back to seeing the rest of the class if I'm in gallery view. And I can then communicate with them. I can talk a little bit about the video they just saw. I can talk about what's coming next. And then when I'm ready, I can go down and click on the share screen button again. And when I do, it brings up the same share screen, but now the YouTube video is gone. And all I have left is a local video or a PDF. So let's try the PDF next. Suppose I want to talk about CLR and explain something to them about CLR. So I'm going to share directly into that. Now that is a PDF viewer. By the way, if you have Edge, forget it. It doesn't work with Edge. But in Adobe PDF Viewer and in several other PDF viewers, there is a setting for the view setting where you can go full screen mode. You see it here, full screen mode. So if I click full screen mode, now I've got virtually the same thing that I would have had in a PowerPoint presentation. However, if your PowerPoint is more than 50 slides, you will have a net gain, a net benefit in stability of the system, and especially your local computer. by converting that PowerPoint to a PDF slideshow, as long as there are no videos in it. This gives you a significant boost in performance locally and stability of the system throughout the rest of your presentation. So I go through and I demonstrate a few slides. I talk about what I need to talk about, and now I'm ready to get out of the PDF. I double click. Oops. Got to hit the escape key to get out of a PDF viewer, just like you would for PowerPoint. So I've got that out of the full screen mode. I'm going to go up and I'm going to stop it. And when I stop it, you'll notice again, it takes me straight out of share screen. So the members of the class are not looking at the last slide forever while I talk for the next 10 minutes about the next subject I'm going to show them. They're not looking at the last slide from the previous subject I was talking about. And this a lot of our members find this very comforting, because a lot of them get worried if they look at a slide still on the screen for too long and it doesn't make sense to what they're hearing. They start thinking that their computer froze up, or your computer froze up, or the system's going to crash. And we've had members doing all kinds of crazy reactions in that scenario. So now the next thing is, I'm done talking about whatever I just showed, and I'm ready to go to the final thing that I want to bring up for them. So here, I'm going to go ahead and click this share screen. Now the only thing left on the bottom row is the video, the NIC 10 video that I showed you ahead of time, that I queued up ready for a presentation. If I hit the share button now, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to go back and do this again, because I was going to show you something. When you're getting ready to share your very first item, you should remember, if you have any videos involved, to click this button to share computer sound. This is what you saw me go to as an afterthought once I had already started sharing the session, and of course after some of the members complained that they couldn't hear it, or that it was garbled, or that it echoey, or whatever it is. Depends on what you've got your local speakers set to. You will get all kinds of complaints. If you share computer sound, you will not have that issue, and they could care less what you set your local speakers to. Anyhow, we're going to go back. I'm going to highlight this. We're going to go back into share, and I'm going to double click on this to make it full screen, and then I'm going to start this video.
Welcome, friends.
So now you see,
from the 2020 board.
So now you see we have the ability to queue up anything we want. Double click, get out of full screen. I'm going to shut this off, and that'll kick me out of share screen. So there, I'm out of share screen. So what I've tried to explain to you is that for your own peace of mind, for your own calmness, for your own ability to be unshaken going into your presentation, and we all know the sort of disaster it becomes if we start a presentation and then can't find the material that we were going to present. We happen to click on the wrong folder or something, get ourselves all disoriented. It has happened to all of us. It has happened to me many times over the years that I taught for so many different subjects. And it's very embarrassing, and it's stressful. And we don't need that kind of a stress if we're going to teach a class for the next 2 hours. So I hope I've shown you some good pointers on how to get yourself all pre-queued and set up to present your class material for the day, and make a streamlined entry and exit out of each segment of the class that you need to queue up. Thank you, and see you in the next segment, whatever that might be about.